Hi friends, I'm Laura and welcome to Book Bubbler. It has been a hot minute since I've done a tag video, and I've seen this going around a lot and really enjoyed watching everyone's responses, so I decided to do it myself. This is the Moody Reader Tag. This is originated by Slanted Spines. I will link to the description. I'm watching too much YouTube. I will link to that video below. And let's get cracking. Okay, number one, do you consider yourself a mood reader? Absolutely, yes, 100%. I would have chafed at that a few years ago, I think, because I think it used to be, for me, it felt a little flighty, but it's actually kind of accurate to how I read. So yeah, I'm very much a mood reader. Okay, number two, do you set TBR lists and do you stick to them? I think if anyone has watched me before, you'll know the answer to this. I do make TBR lists. I love a good list. If I can check off a list of like the 100 best novels of whatevers, I am there. I will do it. Like, I'll print it out and I will check it over year after year. Like, I'm weird. I love setting up TBRs for myself. Love it. Do I stick to them? Absolutely not. No. I might get one or two books off of that list of 20 titles or something, but no, usually it's a jumping off point. A lot of the times when I make a list, in my brain somehow it says that I've already read it or it's already at least started or something. So it's kind of like a grayed out tick mark, like, oh no, this is done. You don't have to read this anymore. It's really strange. I think a cousin and Always Doing has said the same thing too. And yeah, I'm the same way. Put it on a list and it's like it's already done. So I still make them all the time. But yeah, I don't stick to them. Okay, number three, do books affect you emotionally? Does the mood of the book rub off on you? Yes, 1,000%. Yes. For a long time, I'll use this example because that's the best way I can to explain this. So I have an e-reader and I really only use the e-reader in bed when I'm trying to fall asleep. Generally, I'm reading mysteries, not always cozies, but generally it's a mystery or it's romance of some kind, something kind of easy where I know there'll be a positive resolution at the end. And even if there's angst and everything else, it doesn't matter because it will still be okay. Well, recently, I do this off and on, like test myself. Like, maybe I don't have to do this all the time. Maybe I can read everything, in my e-reader when I'm going to bed. And no, I straight up get nightmares. So recently I read Simone St. James's The Sundown Motel. Every time I read that, I had insomnia, I had multiple nightmares and woke up multiple times a night. And it's not even that scary of a book. I mean, it's a thriller, but it's not that creepy. And I dig weird paranormal stuff very much. So it's not like that's out of my wheelhouse of reading by any means. But at night, absolutely not. Can't hack it. If it's literary fiction and it's pretty serious, can't do it either, because then I just worry about the characters and I worry what's going to happen and I don't fall asleep. So that's very much how I'm wired. I am a very empathetic person. I always have been. It's been a struggle and it has seemed like a burden most of my life. I've been trying to turn it around the last few years though and view it as a positive thing, like a superpower, but not superpower, to be so in tune with everybody else and everything around you. Vibes and energy and everything extremely affects me. So yes, I am very cautious when I read things about what time it is, what kind of book it is. And that's also why I am very much a mood reader too. I just can't take stuff sometimes and I have to read something else. Okay, number four, when you're feeling sad, what do you read or do you not read when you're sad? I think, and this surprised me when I was thinking about this, I think I read romance when I'm sad. Like I said, a guaranteed HEA, and it's sort of fun and rompy, and even if it's a higher stakes situation, it's still fairly low stakes. It's a relationship, it's not bombs going off or like children starving or something. It's a couple, So yeah, usually romance. Number five, most often do you use reading to escape, to learn, or to critically reflect? Whew. I think it's in that order, mostly to escape. Reading is very much an escape for me. I am very much a narrative junkie. hooked on stories. Doesn't matter if it's this, if it's a video game, though it's been a hot minute again since I played a video game, and I'm sorry for saying hot minute twice in a video. But any kind of narrative, TV shows, movies, anything, I have to I have to have a narrative going somewhere, and I will also create narratives in my own head for my own life. I don't know what that's a product of, put it on it if you want to, but very much so. It's escaping. And my life is not that bad. It's not that terrible, but it's always been about an escape. And learning is second. I love learning. I am really a nerd. I like emotionally learning about people, and that's why I think books and reading are very much my jam. I can spend time with millions of different characters and millions of different kinds of people from thousands of different authors throughout my life, and I learn about how that particular kind of person works in this situation, or could work, or this particular person could act in this situation, or how they could react and what they're thinking in their brain. I take it all in, very much so. And also then on a more like traditional learning side, nonfiction stuff, I really do love doing that stuff. Learning about things is so interesting, but I realize one of the reasons why I struggled with, say, math or maths is that there is only one absolute answer for everything, and I am very much like, let's take different paths and we can still get the same answer, you know? So I like learning about things, and the things that I absorb and hold on to are only the bits that I find very interesting. If I feel like it's too plotting or like too scientific, there are too many numbers, whatever it is, again, it's very dependent on the situation and the information, I will very quickly just ignore it or discard it. So I would love to be in science, but I know that I'm not wired correctly for me to be a successful scientist in any way. So envious of those of you who are and who can, but I can't get there. Critically reflect. I have gotten away from this so much more since I've been out of school. I have noticed, though, one thing, a positive thing that I've started doing because of YouTube, and I think this starts every time I start a new reading platform. When I started Goodreads, it was very much less so. But library thing absolutely revolutionized my life, changed the way I think critically. I made so many friends from all over the world, different genders, different everything, different races, different religions, and had great conversations about everything and different viewpoints from a real life perspective. It was wonderful. And then that led me to critically reflect on some books and to read stuff critically too. So when I joined Library Thing, that was a really big one. When I joined Litzy, that was another one. And now that I've joined this, same thing too. I'm much more likely to be critical about something or notice something that I might otherwise just gloss over or give the author the benefit of the doubt. I'm more likely to just stick something, and like that little twig is always there in my brain and I can't get past it somehow. And it's been really good, I think. It helps. Sean the Book Maniac has been the biggest help. The Empress of Bailing. I first got to know Sean on Litzy, and I loved his reviews there. I loved his interactions with everybody else there too that I could see, and my friend Leah and everything. And then I realized he was here on BookTube, and I was like, oh my God, I have to watch Sean here too. So Sean has really helped me be okay with DNFing. You'll notice I hardly DNF, but still when I do it, I think, what would Sean do? And he would have DNF'd that thing like on page 7 if he didn't like it, you know? So I try to adopt that a little bit more if I can. It's a very rambling answer to this question. I apologize, but reading is mostly an escape, then about learning, then about being critically reflective. Okay, number 6, what is a book that made you laugh out loud? I tend to chuckle or smile mostly in books, especially if they're intended to be funny. I don't find them funny. I also have a pretty dark and sarcastic sense of humor. But one that I have read, I think 3 different times now, and it makes me laugh out loud every time, not like hilariously laughing, but it does make me laugh, is this ebook that's a short ebook, New Year, Same Trash, Resolutions I Absolutely Did Not Keep by Samantha Irby. Samantha Irby is not afraid of any kind of bodily function or anything. She's very straight about stuff. She's also sarcastic. She's really funny. She loves TV. Like I just enjoy her very much. I really like her voice and I really enjoy her. And this essential list of a bunch of resolutions she didn't keep and why she didn't keep them makes me laugh every time I read it. If I'm really bummed out or I can't find something to read on my Kindle at night, I don't want to start a new book or whatever, I reread that and it makes me laugh. So recommended. Okay, number 7. What is a book that made you cry, or if you don't cry, one that really moved you? Oh boy. I mean, the most innocuous thing can make me cry. I'm a fairly emotional person. If I'm focused on something, almost anything can make me cry. I get really overwhelmed, and the overwhelm comes out as tears. So yeah, that's my body is wired to just cry very easily. Okay. A book that made me cry. I couldn't think of one when I was writing this down, and I still can't think of one now. Trying to get ideas looking around here. A book that made me cry. Oh, okay. So my favorite book that I'm saying my favorite book, it's been that way for probably a year now, is The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton. And that book always makes me cry near the end. Not the very end, but near the end. Yeah, that will get me every time. Okay, number 8. What is a book that you didn't even know how you felt about? That is Normal People by Sally Rooney. Okay, I had to read this last year for the BookTube prize. I'm almost positive that's why I read it. No, it is why I read it. And while I was reading it, I read it in 2 sittings in one day. Like I got up and I took a break and I made a sandwich and ate and went right back to reading it and finished it up. So it sucked me in. Those 2 main characters, Marianne and what is his name? Paul? No. No. Anyways, those 2 main characters, I was so with them and so involved in their relationship and their lives and how things had changed. It was very easy for me to read Sally Rooney's writing. I was there and I was so hooked and so addicted to it that it was like it was a 5-star read automatically. And then I finished the book and the ending was just fine, but I finished it and I put it down like, okay, wow, that was pretty intense. And then pretty quickly I started to think, but did I like them as characters? I don't think I did. Did I agree with their choices? You know, I wouldn't have done that stuff. And the more I thought about it, like really quickly, I didn't like it at all. And then every time I see someone review it or talk about the show, which I still haven't finished watching, I know I'm horrible, I would agree with whatever they said because that's all good points. And like people tend to either love or hate that book. And I decided to just go right straight down the middle with 3 stars for it because I had such a great reading experience and I loved it. And it was easy and I was there with them in Ireland. And then on the other hand, I didn't like it. So Normal People. I really want to read Conversations with Friends before her new book comes out later this year and see what that's like. If that's the same thing for me, if I am like totally focused 100% there and then I go afterwards, but we'll see. Okay, number 9. Are you more likely to read on a sunny day or a cloudy day? Literally, I will read whenever I can. I have replaced some of my reading time with YouTube time, let's be honest. But yeah, I will read. It doesn't matter. If it's a cloudy day, who is that person? Gemma Coleman, is that it? She has, or maybe it's Debbie Tongue. It's one of the like bookish, like graphic novel comic things. I'll try and find it there and put it up here. But it's like the 4 seasons of reading. And spring is like, oh, what a beautiful day outside. I think I'll stay in and read. And summer is like, oh, it's too hot outside. I think I'll stay in and read. Fall, oh, it's so crisp and everything. I'm all cozy on the couch. I think I'll stay in and read. And winter is, it's so cold. I'm so glad I can stay in and read today. Like, that's very much me. That's very much me. So all the reading all the time. Number 10, do you usually set the mood when you read? Music, lights, smells, etc. I used to do this all the time, constantly, for everything I read, especially high school too. I think I did it more also when I lived with people, like when I was in college, when I was home with my parents, you know, I did a lot more. Not so much now that I'm by myself. Again, it depends on my mood, it depends on the book that I'm reading, and it depends on how my concentration is that day and what kind of a book it is. Like if I'm reading a very serious nonfiction book, I'm going to want quiet and I want to just focus on that and try to be with it as much as I can. If I'm reading something more fun, lately I've been watching a lot of ASMRs. Thank you, YouTube, again. I did get my stereo fixed finally. It's only half fixed, so I can use the radio and I can use the record player portion. So I have listened to classical records sometimes, but it's over so quickly. It's like, 20 minutes I'm reading and then I have to get up and flip the side. And yes, I have a huge iTunes library. I could stream something there, but I prefer like a CD, or I just prefer a CD. I know, dated. But it's like an hour to an hour and 20 minutes, generally speaking, and that's a nice reading chunk for me. So I miss that. But lights, it's always dim. I don't think I have a light bulb in this house over 100 watts. I think I just have one or two that are 100 watts. Everything here is like 60 or 40. My main lighting source at night is one string of fairy lights, Christmas lights, all white. Christmas lights and fairy lights have been up year-round in my grandmother's house my entire life. I adopted it very quickly to like all the 80s and 90s and stuff. I always had a string of lights up in my room. Like, the lighting was really important to me, and yeah. So I do and I don't. The smells thing, I used to be super, super into candles. My parents always joked I was going to burn down this house with the shrine that I had on my mantle. So it was like 15 candles or something. But now I'm much more about a diffuser, of course. And that I change by, again, mood as well. So the last question, very chatty, apologize. Number 11, can you leap, from book to book, or do you need buffer time between them? I am very much a leaper, no time at all. Usually one of the reasons why I'm reading so many books is that I'm tired of reading this story, or after 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, I'm sick of reading that story. I don't want to keep going. I need to read something else instead. So I switch to a totally different topic, and I will do a, 45-degree turn and go, let's go over here and let's go over here. I tried to count the number of books I'm currently reading that I have bookmarks in, and I stopped at 25. It's out of control right now. My sweet spot for reading books at the same time is 5 or 6. That's great for me, as I usually have one on the go and my e-reader. I've got a hardcover book that stays home or something similar that I wouldn't travel with. I have one in my purse. I have one that I take with me to work to read if I've got time, which is different than the purse book that I have. I used to have an audiobook always on the go, and sometimes I would have another physical copy. So like 5 for sure, usually 6. Then I can get through books pretty quickly. But I've been jumping around and it's been so scattered, not only this last year, but the last couple of years, that I am just everywhere at all times. I don't get confused about jumping from book to book. I have no time getting into tone. It takes me a sentence or two and I'm right where I left off again. So yeah, I am a leaper. Like, there's barely a breath between books when I'm reading. So that's it. I'm not going to take anyone because it's been around for the last few weeks especially, but also the last few months. So if you want to do this, consider yourself tagged, and I hope you enjoyed this and that you're all doing well and having a wonderful day. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.